spool up and strap in. You're watching Simblitz. Today, I'm putting Flight Sim 2020 and 2024 head to head, all to answer one question. Should you upgrade? You might be thinking, why now? So let's dive right in. How do they really stack up against each other? 2024 has almost been out for one full year. It released in November 2024, and it came out in a slightly interesting state. We had a fair bit of bugs and a lot of compatibility issues, which certainly deterred a lot of people from using it as their main sim, just like myself. However, it looks like those tables are finally starting to turn, which means it's becoming worthwhile for more people to make the switch. So let's compare them head to head and see exactly why you should and why you shouldn't. The reason that I'm finally considering moving to 2024 is because of Sim Update 3, which is by far the biggest and most important update to come to 2024. Sim Update 3 brings a lot more to the table that should have been there from the get-go, such as being able to download things locally. I don't mind the idea of streaming things, but when everything relies on it to the point where you can't launch the game without a stable connection, or even have the support of third-party developers utilising the default aircrafts because it's streamed, it kind of makes it not worth it. But now that's all changing. We can finally download content locally onto our hard drives, and we don't have to stream everything. It might not seem like a massive deal to people, but consider it this way. If 2020 launched like that, we never would have had fly-by-wire do up the A320, because they simply wouldn't have access to the files. But now this gives a chance for third-party developers to look at the default aircraft and hopefully be able to make changes, add modifications, and make them even better. But the update isn't the only reason. The launch of 2024 saw a massive detail increase, including photogrammetry for over 500 cities, ray trace shadows, and more than 4,000 times more ground detail than 2020. In my opinion, for people that do GA or bush flying, this is absolutely where the simulator starts to peak. The ground simulation is absolutely superior to anything I have experienced personally. The detail within the mud and the snow, the only things I've seen just like it is SnowRunner, where you can really see the imprint of where your aircraft wheels have rolled through and really feel the ground. You feel every bump, you feel every rock. It's absolutely amazing. However, for the large majority of people that do commercial flying, ground control and taxiing feels a lot more realistic in the sense that there's more momentum and weight behind the aircraft. Again, this can be up to third parties to kind of design and change, so each aircraft will vary. But leaving the ground and looking at the sky is where it really starts to come together. The flight models for the default aircraft included in 2020 feel far more refined. Stall characteristics and turbulence is absolutely hands down some of the best I've ever seen. Along with that, there's wake turbulence and many other CFDs that are simulated far better than they are in 2020. The weather engine also saw a massive upgrade. We now have high-level clouds. No longer do you just get up to cruise and you're above your cloud ceiling. You finally have those atmospheric high clouds. Along with that, cloud structures and just the general overall impact of the weather engine saw massive upgrades. It looks far more realistic with much better performance and stability. But enough of 2024. What does 2020 still have on top of 2024? One of the biggest things, in my opinion, is the sim is much more mature. It's more refined and more stable in most situations. If you find yourself doing mostly long-haul flights, then by far 2020 is still the way to go. The next big thing is compatibility. Because the sim's been out for quite a while, it's had time to mature and have developers really hone in their skills. For me, some of the core add-ons that are a must are only in 2020. For example, Chase Plane. By far the best add-on you can have for 2020. It revolutionizes the default camera system by adding physics to it, a completely new UI, and so much more user-friendly than the default camera system. It's an absolute must for me. So there still is some benefits to staying with 2020. Unfortunately, it's nowhere near as good looking, and the performance isn't quite as good. 2024 supports multi-threading, which 2020 doesn't. But in my opinion, this is where the need for 2020, for me at least, ends. As I said before, 2024 has almost been out for a year, and a lot's happened in that year. The simulator's become more stable, gotten a lot of updates. Not only that, but third-party developers are now starting to move across, which is the biggest thing for me. Community support is what really makes Flight Sim. So let's sum it up then. Is 2024 better than 2020? I don't think it's necessarily better, it's just different and it's evolving. This is the first time I've seen such a big leap forward. 2020 has far more stability and maturity. I basically mean there's a lot more add-ons and support in 2020. But with the demand of 2024, people want to use these new features, and developers are finally getting to the point where they can move their products across into a stable version of 2024. So I think for the time being, it's going to be a balancing act of both. But now I'm definitely spending a lot more time in 2024. I'm definitely not hanging up the gloves for 2020 anytime soon, but I absolutely am excited and looking forward to see this sim mature and seeing what people bring across. The new possibilities with the new features and functions in this sim has got me excited. I want to see what people can do to push the limits of the simulator. But with all that said, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Is it worth switching to 2024 yet? Or are you going to stick with 2020? I know a lot of people don't care about eye candy. More important to them is stability and add-on support. So I'm interested to see what your opinion is. This was very different, not something I normally do, so if you like this content, let me know down below. But either way, be sure to give it a like, leave a comment below, and if you could subscribe and help me get towards 1,000 subscribers, I'd be forever grateful. I can't thank you all enough for the support, but until then, I'll catch you next time.